Today, I'll be giving Mario Lemieux 10 years to dominate the AHL. We'll be putting Lemieux on the Scranton Penguins and seeing how many championships they can win, as well as tallying all his stats along the way. Year number 1, the team finishes with a 50-20-2 record, earning 102 points for first in the entire league. Mario Lemieux scored 101 goals with 48 assists for 149 points total. If you're wondering the comparison, second place on the team in goals was Nylander with 19, so a slight difference. And the closest to him in goals in the entire league was McMichael with 33. And we have Dustin Tokarski starting in net. He had a 911 save percentage and a 2.47 goals against average, winning 32 of 50 games played with 6 shutouts. After beating the Hershey Bears in 5 games, we move on to the second round where we face the Thunderbirds, which push us towards the edge of elimination, but we do fight back and get the job done in 7 games. We get to face the Toronto Marlies in the conference finals, who fall down way easier. We beat them in 5 games just like round 1, and we move on to the Ontario Reign in the Calder Cup playoff finals. And heartbreak in the finals, a game 7 5-2 loss to the Ontario Reign means they lift the Calder Cup, and we're 0-1 in the playoffs. So that's not a good start there. I can't believe we actually lost. I mean, Lemieux can only do so much, to be fair. But Lemieux obviously led the entire team in points with 43, the closest being Nylander and Smith at 28. And in goals, it just gets wacky. 27 goals for Lemieux to lead the team. The closest was 7. And Dustin Tokarski played fine. A 919 save percentage, a 2.32 goals against average. He had 2 shutouts. And Turcotte did compete pretty well with Lemieux in terms of playoff goals. He was only 8 behind Lemieux as the league leader, and the closest to them was 9 for Drury. Year number 2, we finished with a 52-13-7 record, earning 111 points for first in the entire league. Lemieux 139 points to lead the team. The closest was Nylander with 75. With 84 goals to lead the team, the closest was Andonovski with 20. A slight difference. Tokarski is doing great. 923 save percentage, 2.17 goals against average, 35 wins and 40 games played with 4 shutouts. And this time, Devon Shore was the closest to Lemieux in terms of goals for the entire league. He was 50 off of him, scoring 34. This time, we're facing off against the Wolfpack in round number 1. We beat them in 5 games to move on to the second round, where we face the Thunderbird once again. We're able to beat the Thunderbird once again, this time in 6 games. And another rematch, we face the Marlies in the conference finals. And just like last season, we beat the Marlies in 5 games. We move on to the finals to face the Griffins. And we're able to beat the Griffins in 5 games and capture our first Calder Cup. Lemieux 36 points to lead our team. He also led in goals with 22. The closest was Legare with 8. And Tokarski 918 save percentage, 2.28 goals against average, getting all 16 wins. But I mean, Lindbergh, when he had to be in net, played amazing. The closest to Lemieux in playoff goals was Samuel with 11. He literally had half of Lemieux's goals. Number 3, the team finishes on top of the entire league with a 47-17-8 record, earning 102 points. Lemieux would drop 75 goals and 123 points, obviously leading the team in both categories. The closest to him in goals was Nylander with 15, so a 60 goal difference. Tokarski not playing too bad. 906 save percentage, 2.67 goals against average, 28 wins in 46 games played. In terms of the entire league, Anderson and Foote were the closest to Lemieux in goals. They both had 28. I keep forgetting to actually finish the season. I think a couple teams had a game left, but it doesn't matter. We're facing the Checkers in round 1 of the playoffs, which would end up being no problem for Lemieux as we beat them in 5 games to move on to face the Hershey Bears in round number 2. After beating Hershey in 5 games, we move on to the Marlies in the conference finals for, I think, the 3rd year in a row. Haven't lost to them yet. Let's not start now. We don't start now as we sweep them, no problem, and move on to face the Ice Hogs in the Calder Cup finals. This series needs a game 7, so we're going to watch the simulation and see what happens. Something I forgot to do in the first series as well. My apologies. First period, game 7, and it's 2-0 Ice Hogs. Oh no. Hey, we're a comeback team, right? We're out shooting them by 1. We'll play better in the second. We did not play better in the second at all. Cut it. Third period, I'm going to play it at 8 times speed. If we make it close, we'll jump in and watch, but it's not looking good. Not even 1 goal for Lemieux in the clutch game. There it is. There it is. You just got to speak it into existence. Of course, Lemieux scored. Who else is going to do it? But they just get 1 right back. So I think it is GG. And with time winding down, the Ice Hogs will beat the Penguins in game 7 of the Calder Cup finals. And this team is basically just Lemieux and a couple people they pulled off the street and gave skates to. 21 goals, and the closest to him was 7. And Tokarski's been a legend in playoffs, man. 933 save percentage, 1.91 goals against average. So the rest of the team just can't show up. In terms of the entire league, the closest to Lemieux in goals was Hamblin with 13. No one else other than them even hit double digits in the playoffs. Probably not even going to bother showing the awards because Lemieux is always going to win this one, and this one. Every single time, I promise. Year number 4, we barely make the playoffs, finishing with a 40-28-4 record, earning 84 points for 4th in our division, squeezing in the last playoff spot. And Lemieux's numbers are slowly going in the downward trend, which is not good. Still managed to score 68 goals, earning 108 points. And I mean, no one else is doing anything, so we can't blame him ever. Still loving Tokarski's game, so we won't bully him too much. In terms of the entire league, Ferk actually cut Lemieux's goal total in half. As the closest in the entire league, he had 34 goals. Luckily, we do make the playoffs. Like I said, we were the last spot in our division, and I think in our conference, we're playing Providence in the first round. We're able to beat in 5 games, moving on to the second round to face Bridgeport. I mean, we're like unstoppable in the playoffs until the finals. 8-1 so far. We swept Bridgeport, no problem. I mean, I say no problem. 3 of the games were 1-goal games with 2 OTs, but we're fine. Rockets, Schmockets, we get them done, no problem. We move on to Bakersfield for the finals. Play our redemption arc music. We gotta beat them this time. Well, if beating them means losing in 6 games, consider us winners because we lose to Bakersfield in 6 games. We're 1-3 in the finals. Who is this? What team is like this? And they probably just realized our whole team is Lemieux and just decided to shut him down. So he scored 24 goals to lead our team. Meanwhile, the closest to him had 7 goals. And it's not a goalie problem because look at this, 9.32 save percentage, 1.99 goals against average, 3 shutouts and 14 wins for Tokarski. This is funny, I'm sorry. The closest to Lemieux in the entire playoffs had 9 goals and we still didn't win, and it was a Condor. Their best goal scorer had 9, ours had 24, and we still lost. Year number 5, our team returns to its former glory. We earned 107 points for first in the entire league, get a 52-17-3 record. And I mean, the Lemieux we know and love is back. 95 goals, 134 points. The closest to him in goals was 15, an 80 goal difference. I think everyone on this team owes Lemieux at least 1 cookie. Tokarski, he can probably keep the cookie. A 9.25 save percentage and a 2.09 goals against average, 6 shutouts. He's playing great. If we go to the entire league, Madden himself is the closest to Lemieux with 32 goals. We get the Phantoms in round number 1, a new opponent. Don't believe we've played them yet. Very tight series. We do win it in 6 games, but every game was severely close. We move on to face the Providence Bruins in round number 2. Same outcome, every game extremely close, but we win in 6 games once again. The Utica Comets are our Eastern Conference Finals opponents. That sounded way more dramatic than it needed to. Well, apparently it needed to be dramatic because we only beat them in 7 games. This was a roller coaster of a series. Either way, Chicago Wolves in the Calder Cup Finals. Finally, the team shows up in the finals and we beat the Chicago Wolves in 5 games. Lemieux didn't let us down, 21 goals. The closest to him was Nylander with 9. Tokarski still dominating, 3 shutouts, a 9.23 save percentage, and a 2.17 goals against average. Drury was the closest to Lemieux in the entire league. He scored 10 goals. At year number 6, we have to settle for 7th in the entire league, earning 89 points with a 40-23-9 record. Lemieux would drop 70 goals, the closest on the team. Compared to him, it only dropped 19. Lemieux would also finish with 117 points, the closest being Nylander with 61. Tokarski is still Tokarski. No complaints here. Martin Ferk is once again the closest to beating out Lemieux with a whopping 33 goals. McMichael as well. We get the Checkers in round number 1. For the first time today, we don't make it to the finals as we are eliminated by the Checkers in 7 games. Not only do we not make it to the finals, we couldn't even make it out the first round. Lemieux 5 goals. The rest of the team combined 6 goals. I will die before I blame Dustin Tokarski for a playoff series loss. Look at these numbers. What am I supposed to say bad about him? The Providence Bruins would end up winning the Calder Cup in 6 games, beating the Admirals in the finals. And obviously, for the first time, we have a new playoff goal leader in Sampo Aranta with his 10 goals. Here at number 7, we finished with a 39-25-8 record, earning 86 points for 2nd in our division. Lemieux had his worst year by far, 54 goals, 49 assists for 103 points. I like how even though it's his worst year, his 54 goals, still miles ahead of Nylander, who was the closest to him in goals with 16. The closest in the entire league, scoring 28 goals. Tokarski for MVP. Let's go. We get the Wolfpack in round number 1 of the playoffs. This team almost let me down. Once again, we beat the Wolfpack in 7 games to move on to the second round to face the Hershey Bears. I was close to back-to-back first round exits.
12 seconds later.
We're crumbling. We're falling apart. Second round exit, losing to Hershey in 7 games. I think Lemieux was being too generous with the puck this time around because he had 19 assists, which is his most in a short amount of time by far. He only had 1 more goal than the closest to him. Legare had 9 goals to Lemieux's. This is Tokarski's worst playoffs, and it's still pretty dang good. 913 save percentage, 2.40 goals against average. I'm not really going to be complaining about that too hard. The Grand Rapids Griffins are your Calder Cup champions, beating the Marlies in 6 games. Lemieux was almost the leader in goals, but it would be Adam Gaudette who scored 12 goals. Lemieux got second in his 14 games played with 10. Here at number 8, we're back on top of the entire league with a 47-20-5 record, earning 99 points. Lemieux hasn't beaten his first season yet. He scores 77 goals for 129 points this year. And he's still miles ahead of Legare, who is the closest to him on his team in goals. He had 18. Tokarski's still doing amazing. No problems here. I guess Martin Ferk is Lemieux's rival. Not that it's much of a rivalry. He is the closest to Lemieux in goals in the entire league. He had 36. This is his 3rd season as his competitor. Bridgeport Islanders in round number 1. We crushed that. A 10-1 win in game number 1, and the series was over there. We sweep them, no problem. We get the Hershey Bears in round number 2. It's time for redemption. We're not losing to Hershey this year. Come on. Well, this isn't very good redemption. We're 1 game away from elimination. Doesn't happen. We get game 7. I'm actually going to sim it this time. We'll jump in if it gets spicy. Well, this simming is cursed. End of the first period, we're down 3-1. I don't like it. The second period, that's better. Not even a goal from Lemieux in the second, but we do tie the game. Lemieux scored in the first, and there's Grudden on Foucault. We take the 4-3 lead. We like to see it. Lemieux had a goal in the first. Hasn't done anything since, at least goal-wise, but we do have the lead. Less than half the game remaining. So we jump in if it's close? I think we do. 2. Oh, we're jumping in. 1 minute to go. They have Joe Thornton on their team. What is this? It's fine. I shouldn't have jumped in because it's not the final, so it doesn't mean as much, but we'll see what happens. We can't choke this, right? I mean, we might. This is not good at all. Big block by his own player. We love to see it. So, oh my God, Tokarski, you legend. Jumbo Joe Thornton out here. He's gonna ruin my day, isn't he? Don't do it, Joe. I mean, the empty net's right there. Ty Smith shot for the Stars and landed in on the local Walmart. He missed so bad. Thornton, no. There's no way they can get a goal out of this, right? 6 seconds, it's over. And we bury the empty net with 4.4 seconds remaining. We're moving on to the 3rd round. I mean, after all that, we can't lose in the conference finals, right? We get the Rochester Americans. This is why we can't have nice things. I take the time to jump in, get to watch some action, and then we just get swept in the next series like it's nothing. We scored 2 goals in the whole series. This is blasphemy. Lemieux 15 goals. The closest was Pustinen with 6. Tokarski 919 save percentage, 2.47 goals against average. Not his best work. Still not really blamable, especially when we score 2 goals in the whole series. What's he supposed to do about that? The Americans didn't even get the job done. They lost to the Manitoba Moose. 7 games in the finals. I'd bet money that Lemieux still finished with the most goals in the playoffs. Yeah, it's not even close, is it? The closest was 10 for Turcotte and a couple other guys, but what can you do? In year number 9, we finished for 2nd in the entire league with a 43-21-8 record, earning 94 points. We were tied for 1st, but we finished 2nd place. Lemieux had a great year, 79 goals. Hey, Nylander had a great year as well, 28 goals to be the closest to Lemieux. No, Tokarski's worst year for sure, a 901 save percentage and a 2.74 goals against average. Yeah, hate to see it. How the mighty have fallen. Nick Michael was the closest to Lemieux in the entire league in goals. He had 32, so he didn't even have half of Lemieux's goals. It's now literally impossible for us to win at least half the seasons because the most we can come out of is with 4 rings, and we'll be lucky if we even get 3 at this point. We got the Phantoms in round number 1. I can't take any more heartbreak. What are you doing to me? We lose to the Phantoms in 6 games, a 7-0 loss. What happened to this team? We were so great until we weren't. Providence Bruins are once again your champions, beating Rockford. 5 games in the finals. You dropped 5 goals as the rest of the team would once again only drop 6 goals. I'm scared to look at Tokarski. I don't want to blame him. I don't want to do it. No, he was terrible. 885 save percentage. 3.08 goals against average. I don't want to say it to Tokarski, but maybe it was kind of your fault for once. Obviously, Lemieux is not your playoff goal leader. Merkulov is. with 11. Shout out to Hardman. Mike Hardman. That's a great name. He should be like the spokesperson for Mike's Hard Lemonade. And in our 10th and final season, the boys are looking to go with a bang. 48 wins and 19 losses, 5 shootout / overtime losses for 101 points. First in our division, not even first in the entire league, as the Roadrunners would do 1 point better than us. Lemieux had an amazing season, not his best. His first season was his peak, but a 90 goal season, 45 assists for 135 points. His 90 goals, way better than the second closest, Pustonen at 19. And Tokarski at 918 save percentage at 2.26 goals against average. We love it. 5 shutouts. Hopefully he can bounce back from last year's playoffs. 28 was the closest to Lemieux across the league. There was 4 men who achieved 28 goals. Facing his rival Martin Ferk in the first round of the final playoffs. We need to get the job done. A 3rd ring would make me a little bit happier. This did not go as planned at all. We are able to get the job done, beating them in 6 games. It was pretty close. We move on to the Phantoms in round number 2. Another close series, but we do win in 6 games once again. We move on to the conference finals where we're facing the Americans. Not only do we not get swept, but we win the series in 6 games. Every series we've won in 6 games so far. Our final season, we face the Ice Hogs in the finals. And we are on the brink of elimination. We have to win game 6 and game 7 to lift the Calder Cup. You already know what's about to happen. Period number 1. No score. Period number 2, 1-0 Ice Hogs, because of course Reichel scores on Tokarski. 8 times speed. 3rd period. Hopefully it goes. It's not going well. I didn't even get to finish my sentence hoping it would go well for it to go wrong. And we get one back. Nylander on Soderblom. Big dub. Still need 1 more. I will be jumping in if it's close. That is the plan. Running out of time though. 4 minutes, 3 minutes, 2 minutes. We're jumping in. Minute 13. We need a goal to send it to OT. We obviously need Lemieux on the ice. I don't currently see him. That is a bold decision. I will not lie. Did it take? Oh no, we just pulled the goalie. Why was that? No. Okay, he missed. But what a self pass. Not that it worked. It almost did. Wilson brought in. He still has it. We needed an EA cheese moment there. It's still possible. It's not possible. And here it is, Robinson. I was offside. Whew. Lemieux's got to go on the ice. 20 seconds. Put him on there. There he is. We got Nylander, Lemieux, Legare. And it was offside all the way back here. This is the moment. Lemieux loses a face-off to an AHL player. And we lose. Great. There's nothing wrong with that sentence. Nylander, feed Lemieux. Where is he? Legare. No! Why didn't we give that to Lemieux? It's fine. We tried our best. They still can't hit the empty net. Not that it matters. GG. Well, at least we went down to the Hogs, right? It's a little bit on theme here, at least, right? Right? No, I'm still sad. 12 goals for Lemieux. The closest to him was Nylander with 8, so actually a pretty close difference there. 29 points for Lemieux to lead. Karski not too shabby. 913 save percentage, 2.53 goals against average. We just could not get the job done. We won 2 rings, 2 out of 10 seasons. Mr. Slavin was the closest to Lemieux in the entire playoffs. He had 10 goals, but Lemieux did take the crown with his 12. When it's all said and done, Lemieux finishes with 720 games played, 793 goals, 487 assists for a grand total of 1,280 points. Lemieux would end up averaging over a goal per game, but along the way, he was only able to secure 2 Calder Cup champion rings. And this is the team he was playing with. So I'm honestly low-key surprised we won 2, but in reality, I thought we were going to win way more than 2. I thought Lemieux was going to absolutely dominate, which he did, while one player doesn't win championships. At least that's my takeaway from this. Either way, thank you everybody so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.